introduce you, right? Welcome, YouTubers or potential YouTubers. Today is the 5th of May, 2023, and we've had one team this week, a team of 8. And what a great bunch of people we've had, bringing lots of different skills and experience into this one group of 8 people. So we do have Brett, who's going to be starting the proceedings. We're doing this meeting slightly different, YouTubers. Rather than it go through for 30 minutes with a 5-minute Q&A at the end, because I am now playing the client. Yes, yours truly, Tony Roy, I am playing the client. So if I've got any questions or queries, I will be stopping the meeting as we go through. So slightly different format for this one. So Brett, no serious time constraints on you today then, Brett. So if I could hand the meeting over to you, let's all get into character. Let's go.
So good morning. On behalf of Risk Free Limited, we are grateful for the opportunity to work with you on this project. I am Brett, the project manager for the development on Bramley Close. We will do a quick induction of all our development team. So
I'm Leah, I'm the senior site manager.
I'm Chris, site security.
I'm Tavoy, one of the site managers.
I'm Andre, a risk manager.
I am Miha, I'm the welfare and safety manager.
Hi, good morning. My name is Kevin. I'm your CDM manager.
Pleased to meet you guys.
Yeah, sorry, my role. A quick brief site description. The job consists of a construction of 6 brick and block houses in the Bramley Close area. It is in the local vicinity, and there is a school, a factory in use, some existing housing estates, and also a local bus stop and farm.
So the next slide is the site plan. As you can see from the site plan, we will be developing the 6 brown coloured plots, which are located to the left of the build. And we will also be installing the infrastructure of the main road into the development for future developers as well also. Location of site cabins and storage areas on this next slide. So we will be altering the entrance to the development. We'll have the welfare facilities on the left-hand side and adequate storage areas and parking around the development. So the relevant storage areas, we're going to have ample storage for bricks, blocks, timber racks, all the scaffolding, groundworkers materials. We're also going to have cash items on the site, so they will be contained in lockable containers. We'll have storage tools, areas for plants, and we'll have bucket changing areas. We'll also have a waste area as well on the development, and also a fueling area on the development.
Right, straight on to the site security, where we will have a barrier of a hoarding fence made of solid wood, not your Harris fencing, where we will situate a 260-degree panoramic camera in each corner to cover the site, and also 1 camera on the site entrance next to the steel lockable gates.
So emergency procedures and arrangements that we have. Basically, we have the fire emergency plan, which we will see on the next page after I finish talking. The fire extinguishers and alarms, we have water, CO2, and dry powder. Fire extinguishers in total, 12 of them. Risk assessment will be required for all fire extinguishers. Designated fire marshal will be Leah. First aiders will be all supervisors who have actually the 3 days first aid course necessary for site. Rescue plan will be discussed within the site induction, and we have 3-tier accident plan. First, for the small injuries, as example, cut fingers will be dealt with the first aiders on site. Second tier, Hospital injuries will be initially dealt with by a first aider, and transport will be arranged to the hospital if they are unable to take themselves. And third tier, medical attention needed on site. If they are unable to go to hospital, arrangements will be made for medical personnel to attend site and take control of the scene. So basically the ambulance. Accident book is provided in the site office, and all injuries, including near misses, must be reported, no matter how big or small. Other potential emergencies could include chemical spills, explosions, machinery malfunction, dangerous gas releases, and flooding. So we have the emergency procedures arrangements here. As you can see, we have the pedestrian routes, which are marked red, and which will be used also as an emergency escape route. This will be directed by the fire marshals in case of the fire. All that route will actually lead people working on site to assembly point, and also marked in the green circles, we can see the location of fire extinguishers.
Our safe system of work. We have created a safe system of work for this project. Our access and egress is all around site. Our site security is at the entrance of the site. Also CCTV cameras. Emergency procedures. Fire plan, fire testing, which every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Traffic management planning also. Permits, etc. Dig pit, hot work permits, etc. can be found in the site office before you start your task on site. Risk assessments and method statements for all work should be read and signed. The scope of work. Your site supervisor will inform you with the scope of work for the task you were given on site. All agency workers will need to be checked for competency in the area required, and added training to be provided where needed. Please, all ramps will be provided for all tasks to be completed that will be reviewed and signed at the end of the job. Thank you.
Okay, so traffic management plan. So traffic management plan will ensure the safety movements of the vehicles alongside the roadwork, and basically all vehicle roads and pedestrians roads will be separated by barriers, and therefore the protective zone will be established. Potential hazards in the area will be identified, and suitable traffic flow will be suggested. It is important to determine the type of vehicles that usually pass through, so that proper measurement and distance, such as the width and turning radius, can be considered between the work zone and the main road. Parking nearby establishment and other significant places where people stay or pass through will be considered when creating the design plan, and we can see that we have it already established. And we have also the wheel wash area, which will actually make sure that all vehicles will be entering the public roads with the washed wheels, and not actually creating any rubbish or something like that.
I'm just going to do a brief talk about document control. So everything allocated on your screen can be found in the main office. All files are individually filed, so documents aren't mixed up or lost or damaged. This also helps a good filing system and good housekeeping. Most files, for example, health and safety, RAMs, method statements, permits of works, and hot work permits are regularly updated for insurance purposes, but also for site and health and safety inspections that may occur at any time. All other relevant documents can be found around the work site, for example, the information board. Thank you.
Hi, today I will speak about the welfare assessment. We decided to have 4 containers, anticipating that no more than 20 people will work on the site in the same time. So related to that, we will have one of the container used like a block with toilets. So in these toilets we'll have 5 toilets. All the toilets will have wash basins with hot and cold water. We will also provide toilet paper, soap, hand towels, barrier cream, sun cream, and hand scrub. Also, one of the toilets from all these 5 is gonna be designated for the female use, where inside can be found specific sanitary which will be provided. We will also have a container that will serve as a drying room with changing room, with lockers as well, and seats, and which is gonna be separated from the female one. Another container, which is gonna be on top of the other 3, will serve as a site office, and will have a small kitchenette. To have access on that, we'll have external stairs. Another container on the ground floor will be used as a welfare area. So we'll provide 5 tables with 10 chairs, 1 fridge freezers, 2 microwaves, and 2 kettles. Also we'll provide disposable cutlery, mugs, paper towels, and inside can be found barrier cream as well. We'll also have in this canteen a sink with warm water where people can wash their hands, for example. We'll also provide 4 storage cabins with power, which will be provided, and one of them will serve as a charging point as well.
Now we go on to the site signage. As we come into the site, you will have your first stacker board telling you the site rules of everything that you need to know. As you come through and you sign in, you will have your health and safety law poster, your insurance certificate, and your F10 notification that will all be on the site entrance into your office. You'll also find your fire management plan, a traffic management plan, your first aid signs, and your welfare poster situated in your welfare unit. You'll also have site warning signs situated around the site for your skips, your storage units, your fuel tank, and also situated outside on the hoarding to warn people that it is a construction site and they do need to stay out.
Moving on to site rules. So site rules can be found on the safety notice board, as well as in the site office, and also be provided to you in the CPP. Just to list a few. So generally, you'll be able to find the opening times from 8 till 5 o'clock. Deliveries are not to be, there'll be no deliveries before 9:30 a.m. and with a shut off of must finish by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, with competent workers doing competent works. An induction process which will take place in the site office, which Leah will get into in the next slide. The signing in and out, waste identification, disposal units, weekly check-ins, fire extinguisher check-ins, work equipment check-ins, and there will be also toolbox talks and daily dabs.
So the induction procedures. So all of our induction procedures will take place within the site office. With regards to what days, they will happen all day, every day, as and when required. So whenever new attendees visit the site, whether that be staff, employees, contractors, just general visitors, at all points there is a new attendee, they will require an induction. So again, similarly with the time, it will just occur upon arrival of any new attendees. Any site manager present at the time of the arrival of the new attendee will be able to conduct the induction. So that would be either be myself, Brett, Dan, or Tavoy. The items that will be covered within the induction procedure will be the description of the site, what kind of works are involved. It will discuss site staff details, so who myself is, Brett, etc. And it will also include details on first aiders. It will include who the fire marshals are. It will highlight exactly where the welfare points are. And one of the most important will be any hazards that people need to consider whilst they are on the site. This will then lead on to where, if there are unfortunately any accidents, where they can report these accidents. We will also detail traffic management plans, fire plans, emergency procedures, any rescue plans that may be relevant to any works that are going on. And we will, as Tevin just discussed, highlight the site rules again. And at this point, we will also review the RAMs and make sure that they're accurate and that they will cover correctly everything that the person's here to do. And at that point, we will also obtain any proof of necessary training and competency within the area that they're on site for.
So moving on to permissions and notifications, we have worked with local authorities, councils, and the highways in regarding to partially infilling the existing pond area to be able to construct our one-way system route of the roads for all cars coming in and out and materials deliveries. We've also worked in regarding to securing protection of the site, security systems of the site, working along with the council, alongside public schools and the local facilities, factories within the vicinity as well. But this will all be presented to you, especially with the F10 notice in the CPP to follow.
So the mental health policy. So this is really important to us as a company, as mental health and stress can affect everyone and anyone, regardless of their position or their status. So our policy does apply to all of our employees. We will continuously strive to improve the mental health environment for all of our workers. And by doing this, in order to do this, we will identify, reduce, and eliminate anything that we feel may cause psychological harm to our employees. Initiatives that we have so far in order to do this are, we have toolbox talks specifically on mental health. We have a specific people manager who is the direct point of contact for any mental health issues that anybody may have. We have members of the team who are certified in mental health first aid. We do team building exercises and offer counselling opportunities. We also, and just recently, actually created a Friday focus where we get in some pizzas, we gather the team together, we discuss the initiatives, get suggestions, we get feedback on the week that we've just had, and then we talk about the week that's upcoming. The review of this policy does happen mainly annually, but we continuously monitor our employees to make sure they're getting the appropriate mental health support.
Okay, as probably noticed in the previous drawings, we decided to build around the pond, the existing pond and trees, to build a temporary hoarding. This is happening because we try to protect as much as possible the existing wildlife there. We know that later we have to build a road that will serve these houses, new build houses, but we'll do this work soon. We are assured that no wildlife can be affected, we'll find the proper timing. We aiming to integrate in the community, in the local community. So that's why we decided to make a few steps towards that. And like a first thing, we aim to create an interaction with the kids from the school, and that's why we consider to let the kids choose the names for the houses, and as well to make a children's drawing competition on our external hoarding, for example. Also for the factory building and the farm, which are near to our site, we decided to maintain for them the cleanness and the cleanness of the street that serve to their facilities. Also for the general public, because always we try to improve, we decided to fix outside some suggestion boxes, so all the public, all the person living around or just the general public can give us some suggestion about how we can improve and integrate better with the community during our job here. Thank you.
That being said, we aim to start the project as soon as possible. We aim to have the site set up completely within 4 weeks, and we estimate to complete the site will take around about 8 to 10 months. So it's a short project, and we aim to do it as quickly and as safely as possible. We thank you for listening today, and we look forward to working with you, and we're open to any questions and your feedback. Thanks again.
Right, okay, so I was going to interrupt you and ask the questions, but you seemed like you were flowing, so I did have time just to write a few questions down, so thank you for that. Well, thank you for a very enlightening introduction there. Just a few things did just pop up though. So the first question, you mentioned in storage, this one's a question for you, Brett. You did mention that you'd have fuel as a potential storage requirement. So what fuels are you anticipating storing, and what's the facility and procedure for safe storage of that fuel, dispensing, delivery of that fuel, etc.?
So we've got a fuel area. So it would be the diesel for the machines. It's all set up properly with the diesel spill kits everywhere, with a design on the storage of the diesel and the fueling of the machines. And also there would be storage of petrol for steel saws, etc., which would be stored in the Kosh lockable containers, but obviously breathable, because obviously combustion of the fire risk involved in that. Okay.
Did you have a fire call point close to that area for the storage area? I mean, I know diesel takes some igniting, but it is a fuel source at the end of the day. So can you just put the fire call points back up for me? Whoever's in charge of the presentation.
Yeah, you see there's one located directly next to it.
Oh, right. Yeah. Excellent. Right. Okay. Happy with that. Question for Chris regarding your cameras, Chris. I noticed you got 4 cameras with the correct panoramic angles on there, but I just wondered if your cameras complied with the GDPR regulations, and if so, how do you ensure that compliance?
They do.
It's the data protection. GDPR is the data protection.
Yeah, they do comply with it. They'll all be pointed separately and down. So obviously we won't be recording anything that's outside the site hoarding. The hoarding fence is going to be a high fence to about 10 foot. And because they're not full panoramic, we cannot actually see, as you can see from the arrows, is like panoramic outline of roughly to where the cameras will not be situated, being able to see from each camera. So, they are all going to be pointed inside the site. We are going to have signs up, though, saying that CCTV recording is operational on site. So we are going to let members of the public aware. But obviously, for safeguarding reasons, we can't even film anywhere near the school anyway. So we have to make sure.
And where will the recordings be kept? Where is the storage of the recordings?
The storage are going to be kept on hard drives in the site office. Okay.
Also, with your security, Chris, how are we actually getting people on and off site?
We've got a pedestrian gate as well as a main gate at the site entrance, but we're also going to have a signing in shed, just in case. We can have biometrics, but I don't trust them because you never know, something could go wrong. So we're going to stick to traditional signing in with your card number.
Card? What kind of card? What do you mean card?
CSCS card number.
CSCS card.
Yeah.
And was that? So that's a CSCS card. So was that? I'm going to jump over to Tevin now. Then, so Tevin, was CSCS cards part of the site rules? Because you went through the site rules quite quick, and I didn't manage to write them all down.
No, apologies. It would be a part of it, and as a part of the induction process of following them rules. You would need to provide your CSCS card,
Right.
especially to be able to do skilled work. We won't have a labourer participate in doing skilled work, so we will do a background check on that, store that within the office as well.
Okay, so you're gonna add that to the site rules and also make sure it's part of the induction procedure.
Yeah, because you got attend site induction at the top, sign in, sign
Of course,
out.
yeah.
You've also got on there in terms of be trained and competent for the task as well. So that will be a part of that, and to provide and also review the RAMs as well as sign off. So
Brilliant.
Before any works can commence, you will need to follow that procedure, part of the induction process.
Brilliant. Okay, I'll bounce back to Chris then. Chris, seeing as you brought up CSCS cards, will they still be eligible in 2024? That's a joke.
Well, we don't know yet.
Have you researched it? Have you researched it?
Maybe we have. I have researched it, yes, and I'm still waiting for some answers on it.
Yes, me too. Me too.
But at the moment, the actual people who run the CSCS course, they actually don't have an answer on it yet.
Exactly. Yeah, they've sent a bulletin out that you and I have both been privy to, but that's about all it is at this stage, a bulletin.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Chris. Yeah, sorry, sir. Yes, carry on. Sorry, sir.
I was going to say, at the moment, if you actually go on the website and try and renew your CSCS card past 2024, it actually doesn't allow you.
Right. It's one to watch, that, isn't it? I was having a conversation before the meeting this morning, and there is a suspicion that it might be all going NVQs. So we shall see. That'll be interesting if it is. Staying with you then, Chris. So you're saying you're going to have a good old-fashioned signing in, signing out system. Do you know what? I'm old school myself. I've got no problem with that. You've already told me that you're looking at 20 at its peak, so we're not talking mass hordes of people here. So I think that's manageable. So on the red box on the plan that Leah just put up there, who's in that red box? Is it are you having on-site security?
That red box is our pedestrian crossing point.
Oh, sorry. So where is the signing in book then?
Our signing in book is going to be situated within the welfare facilities area.
Right.
Where you will have a signing in little office.
So who stops somebody? Who stops somebody just walking in off site then, from off site onto site?
We are going to have a gateman. He's going to be under part of the traffic management plan.
Right. So anybody coming in past the gateman, he will have to show what. So show his CS. How will we know if it's not just a random local nutter that just wants to come on site and just happens to own a CSCS card? How are you going to police that?
They'll have to show ID.
And they're going to have to be booked in.
And they have to ask who they're here. They have to tell the site guy, the gate man, who's here to see.
What
and it can't just be, oh, I'm Fred's friend. I've just come to see your labourer to pass him his lunch.
Yeah, I'm with John. Yeah, I see it. Okay, well that makes sense. That makes sense. So, assuming they get past the gateman then, because he's booked in, or they're booked in, if it's a combination of people, and the gateman lets them in, they're then going to be instructed to walk to the welfare, where the welfare will have the signing in book. How does the induction kick in, and how does that kick in at that stage? I'm talking for the first person on site now. They've not been inducted yet. So the first person turns up, he's get cleared with the gate person because they know that he's coming Monday morning. His name's on his list, so he can come in. He's instructed to walk to the welfare to sign in, which is the first thing he needs to do. So we all know he's on site. How does the induction kick in at that stage then?
The gate man will have a two-way radio with one of the site supervisors or site management who's in the office, so they can come greet him and meet him and take him into the office to start the induction process.
And as Leah said, it will be any manager who's on call or duty at that time. Yeah, I get that. So the gateman, is he just working the site operating hours, or is it because he's only a gateman, not security? So at the end of the shift, then at the end of the day, he locks up the gate, and then the perimeter is secure with your very, very high hoarding. If somebody scales that hoarding or breaks in any other way, then the CCTV will pick up.
Pick them up.
So who's monitoring the CCTV then?
The company who supplies us the CCTV.
So it's going to be remotely monitored, right? So it's going to be remotely monitored. Right.
All site managers could also have the app that's on their phone, so that they'll be able to. You can set it so that if there's any movement, obviously outside of a certain time. So, say from end of close, any movement, we'll be able to access the camera immediately and see who it is, and then do whatever we need to do from there on.
Just like your Ring doorbell.
Also, we
Just
also
like the Ring doorbell. Yes, Brett.
we also said that we don't expect anybody to be heroes. If anyone does break in, not to obviously go and try and tackle those assailants yourself. You must call the emergency service, and they will provide.
Okay. Just as an FYI, in case I forget to say it afterwards, I'm still in character here, by the way, but just in case I did forget to say it afterwards, if you're ever involved in site setup for real, if you let the local police know, they will do 3 drive-bys per night for no charge. So nice to know that. Nice to know. Okay, thank you, Chris. You answered those questions perfectly. So let's go down to the next one. This one's for Andre, under the fire. So I'm just wondering why you selected water and CO2 as your extinguishers and not foam and CO2, because anything that water can put out, foam can put out, but foam can also tackle other things as well. So how come you didn't go foam and CO2 rather than water and CO2? You're limiting your options.
We selected dry powder as well.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see dry powder. Let's have a look.
Dry powder is actually, I think, better than foam.
Yeah. Sorry, while I was writing notes, I did miss that one. I do apologise, Andre, and a very good answer. Dry pads are a great extinguisher. I do agree. As a client, we are at the cutting edge of technology, and we're always looking for better options. And we've done some research recently, and in America, I thought it was somebody sending me for tartan paint, a long wait, and a skirting board ladder. I thought it was in the same vein as that, but somebody told me about a dry water extinguisher. And it does exist. It's been licensed in America, and it puts out every conceivable fire, the dry water extinguisher. So as a client, it's not been licensed for the UK yet. So as a forward-thinking contractor, I'm sure you'll be looking out for them in the future. And there is also a sonic fire extinguisher that puts it out with sonic waves as well. So yes, I think these extinguishers will be a thing of the past in 10 years, but that's me as a client.
You said they have a sonic fire extinguisher.
Yeah, it puts it out with sound waves, sonic sound waves. Yeah.
Not gonna affect the ears.
Again, there you go. You solve one problem and create another. Yeah, potentially. I don't know Sonic. I'm no expert. I'm just a client with some money. I want some houses building. Right. Okay. Well done there. Okay. Same with Andre then. The fire engine then. You mentioned you got a 3-tier accident plan, and your third tier. How does the fire engine get on site? What if it was a little bit more? So talk me through. Can we go back to that site plan, please, Leah? So just talk me through it, Andre. So you've got a fire on any one of those plots, and the fire engine needs to come in. What's the procedure? Because you've got your gate man. Is the gate wide enough for a fire engine? What's the procedure?
So the fire engine actually will enter from the public road.
Correct.
And they will follow all pedestrians or other vehicles will be excluded, because when we call the fire brigade, we will also make sure that all the vehicles and the pedestrians will be out of the way. Yeah.
Good.
So then the fire engine will actually enter the site and have the clear way to go directly to the source, to the fire.
Okay. Can it take water from the pond?
No.
Well, in emergency, can.
Okay.
We'll also make sure there's a hydrant accessible at the end of the street of the road where the houses are. So if they do need to hook up, they can hook up straight to the main water supply.
Not need the pond. Excellent. Okay, staying with Andre. Near misses. You mentioned in your accident plan that near misses will be actively encouraged. Now, as a client, I've heard of these near misses, but I'm not familiar with what a near miss is. Can you just talk me through the procedure? What is a near miss? What is near miss?
Near miss is actually not at it is an event where accident could have happened but didn't happen, where, for example, a brick fell from the scaffold but didn't actually hit somebody but fell next to him.
Okay, so if I saw that, then where do I go to get the near miss form? Where is it? Where are they kept?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So assuming I'm somebody who works on your site and I'm not the client, I see that brick fall and I want to report it. Where do I go to report it?
You go to the site office and report it to the supervisor or manager, and they will have to put it to the accident book.
Okay, and then what happens to that report?
And with that report, it will be actually stored safely for protecting the data of all the
information,
all the personnel which was involved, and it will be actually like the GDPR regulation.
Okay, as a client, I'm struggling to see what the point is of me reporting it then. Is it just a statistic thing so you can just keep count of how many you had? What is the point of me reporting it?
It's just to try and prevent it from happening.
How? How does that prevent it? I don't understand. All you've done is just crunch the figures and...
So we look at how it fell. So we will have all the fall protections in place, but sometimes they may be dislodged, i.e. brick guards or toe boards. And it will just mean that further checks will need to be done on that situation, just to prevent
Brett. Okay, Brett. I'm just gonna bring Leah in because I can see that she's got a hand up. Yes, Leah. Did you want to add to that system?
Yeah. So obviously, all the site managers will continuously monitor this this documentation. So if I had noticed anything like that, I would grab the team together and I would put a toolbox talk together about near misses and kind of just explain this to everyone, and obviously explain the importance of it and why it's important that we do report these things.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Leah. Thank you for adding that. Thank you, Brett, for your contribution. Thank you, Andre. Also on staying with Andre, sorry, mate. So, all right, you did mention that we've got on here other potential emergencies include chemical spills, explosions. What were you considering as a potential explosion? Just when you put that in there, what were you thinking could explode?
Well, for example, gas cylinders. Gas cylinders on site can explode, or for example, like the spray in the cans, which will be actually under direct sunlight and in the hot days or something.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Andre. Tavoy, I've got a question for you now. You did mention in your safe system of work that the agency workers will be checked. I'm just wondering what the procedure is for checking agency workers.
Okay, we have to ensure that they have their proper CSCS cards, because some agency are not from the country, to be honest. We're different ethnic groups, so we have to ensure that they're properly trained, have their proper CSCS card, and they are able to understand and communicate with other colleagues on site.
Okay, can I just pause at that, Tavoy, because that's an issue that we had on previous jobs, that people were coming up with fake CSCS cards. So just turning up with a CSCS card, in my experience, doesn't mean that it's actually a CSCS card and they've actually gone through any training. So how would you validate that CSCS card to make sure it is actually a CSCS card that's been actually assigned to that person?
Well, we have to ensure that look at the proper CSCS card number, also the expiring date on it and the date. Also, we have to match the person photo with the person who is presenting the CSCS card.
Okay, Tavoy, can I just pause you there, mate? I can see that Andre would like to come in and add to that question. Do you want to add something there, Andre?
Also, we have discussed this. We can use actually CITB card checker or Go Smart application for checking the CSCS cards and the qualifications.
Perfect answer, you two. Perfect answer. That leads me neatly back to you, Andre. Sorry, my friend. You did mention deliveries, and later on it mentioned that there'll be delivery times or times to avoid for deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a question for you, Andre. If a delivery turned up in one of the thank you. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Whoever's doing that. Is that you, Leah? Thank you. So we've got no deliveries before 8:30 or after 3:30. Okay, let's take the 3:30 as an example. Sorry, 3 o'clock. So let's take the 3 o'clock delivery time. You get a delivery and it turns up after 3 o'clock. What are you going to do with that delivery?
They actually get turned away, and we will be issuing fines if it's a reoccurrence.
But what if it wasn't the driver's fault? I mean, you know, the roads are shocking these days, aren't they? I mean, it might not necessarily be the driver's fault.
Reschedule for another
Will
delivery.
will be stipulated on all delivery requirements. So if the driver is not going to make it, then he does need to turn away.
Turn away. Yes, yes, Leah. Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so within our documents, we do create purchase orders where we stipulate exactly what we're ordering from a supplier. So we will make sure that the terms and conditions of that purchase order, which will also be signed by the supplier,
Yep.
will clarify that our delivery times are between 9:30 and 3 due to obviously schools around and the local area.
So if the driver was then unavoidably delayed because even though they might try and plead ignorance, say, I didn't know that was the rule. So let's say they turned up at 3:15, your gateman is going to say no deliveries. And where are they going to go? Where are you? So they're going to come back the next day then, presumably going to try and get booked in the next day. But they've traveled a hell of a long way. So they're not going to go back to the depot. They're not going to go back home because they've traveled a hell of a long way with this delivery. So where are they going to go?
They're going to park right up next to the street.
Yes, Brett. Sorry, Chris. Yes, Brett.
So we're going to be aiming to be using the local merchants and suppliers. So
Okay, good answer.
Yeah, they shouldn't be travelling too far.
Great answer, Brett. Great answer.
Sorry, can I add into that? Yeah.
Of course you can, Tavoy. Of course you can.
If they're coming from a far distance where it's going to take more than 3 to 4 hours, we would have to give them a pre-notice, like from 3 days before, so that they could make arrangements on their time to be at the site.
I agree. I think if I knew that you got a 0 tolerance on that, I'd be setting off the night before to make sure I get there nice and early. Okay, so one of the serious considerations we had when we awarded you this project during the tender stage was that we've got a huge consideration for on the draw. Can we just go back to the drawing, please, Leah?
Yeah, which one do you want?
Just the main one, just any one. It won't matter because I'm going to make that one. That's fine. That's perfect. Now, when we sent you as clients the information of the project on that A4 sheet that we sent you, on School Road, which you can clearly see there to the left, if we imagine going straight up the School Road, you can't see it on the drawing because it's just off the drawing, but it is on the information that we sent you. But I've not heard any reference to it yet. There is an ambulance station just up there.
Yeah.
So you are going to be having blue lights coming screaming down there. So I'm just wondering whether you considered that when you were doing your site setup.
Yes, we did. So all the site setup will be done from inside to out. The only time we'd be outside would be when we're just fixing the panels. So it'll all be erected inside and put up, and then the cranes and everything can get into the job to lift the welfare facilities into place.
Brilliant, Brett. And this is why we didn't want your deliveries waiting on that road.
Yes.
For that reason. Excellent. That'd probably be more relevant for anybody who turned up at the earlier day. They might think, well, I've only got to wait till 9 o'clock, 9:30, and then I'll get ticked off, and we don't want them on that school road for that reason. But you're absolutely right. Your traffic management plan is not interfering with that school road at all. So well done. Well done. Another message for Andre. Your wheel wash, Andre. Where does that dirty, potentially contaminated water run off to?
The potentially contaminated water will go to dewatering facility, and it will be also like taken away for recycling.
Okay, I get you. I hear you. Good. Mihai, I've got a question for you. You mentioned the toilets would be gender neutral.
Yes.
Personally, I'm not a fan of gender neutral toilets, but that's a personal thing for the simple reason I wouldn't want my daughter, my mother, or my wife following these dirty builders into a gender neutral toilet. But that's a personal thing for me. There's no right or wrong on that. That's your decision to go gender neutral. But you did mention you would have female only changing areas. So next week, when you're on in a few weeks' time, you've started work and you have somebody come to site who is identifying as a woman, transgender. What can they use that female only changing area?
Good question. Actually,
And it's going to come. If this situation is going to come one day, and you need an answer to this because this is coming. I'm not even joking now. This is a thing, or it's going to. In it, I get a lot of people. Let me stay in character. We have other contractors we've used in the past, and this is real life for them. So
the way I see it, they cannot.
Yeah, it's a very political hot potato here, isn't it? And I don't expect you to answer. I don't expect you to answer that right now. Yes, Chris, would you like to come in on that one?
If the situation does arrive to that situation, then we will look to putting into gender neutral changing rooms as well.
Right.
Because obviously we can't ignore the political fact and be prosecuted.
It needs some serious observation. That situation doesn't it? It needs some serious observation because nobody would like to offend or upset anybody. Of course we wouldn't. Yeah. But of course, by not offending or upsetting one group of people, we could start offending and upsetting another group of people. So yeah, we've got to be very sensitive there. I have my personal opinions on that, which I'll keep to myself for now until we've stopped recording. Right. Okay. Kettles. As an environmentalist, you've picked 2 kettles for the canteen. Kettles are 2 kilowatts each. That's incredibly energy consuming. Why did you not? And this is me high again. Why did you not consider water heaters that are on a thermostat that cut off when they get to a certain temperature, which are proven to be more energy efficient?
Actually, we have a sink in the kitchen with warm water.
On a water heater. I'm talking about the drinking water for the because you mentioned 2 kettles. So I'm just wondering why you go for the old Burco water heater, which tends to proven to be more energy efficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something we can look into. You know, upgrading our facilities.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you.
Look into.
Thank you, Brett. Good answer there, my friend. Good answer. Okay, over to Tevin. Oh no, delivery times. You've answered that one. You mentioned on your site rules, Tevin, abusive language.
Yes.
Okay, what are we classing as abusive language? Have you got some
any kind of profanity, any kind of vulgar language, homophobic language, or bullying? In a sense, we are working in the public sector. We have a school full of a primary school. It's a primary school full of children. From ages 5 to 11, I believe, and you do not want that to be picked up on at all.
Okay, Tevin, staying with that then, or anything that's on the screen there, break the rules. What happens? What's your procedure? What happens?
In terms of breaking the rules, one of the site team will then take you into the site office, have a little discussion in regards of you'll be warned. And after that warning, should you repeat offend, you will be followed by the yellow card, red card system.
Okay.
Sometimes you might be overruled where just due to the site manager's discretion, the site team's discretion, depending on the actual foul play, you can just be sent away straight away, and we'll get in contact with your management.
So for serious breaches, it could be straight offside.
100%.
Okay. Thank you. Question for Leah on the mental health policy. Great policy, by the way. Great initiatives. Friday Focus. I particularly like that one with the who doesn't like pizza. I just wondered, one of the first signs for a lot of people, not everybody, is excessive drink and recreational drug consumption. I'm just wondering whether you'd have considered drugs and alcohol testing during the project. I didn't see it in here. Was there a reason you decided not to go for it? I'm just wondering what your thought process was around that.
No, it's something that we can do. It's not within that because I wanted to focus specifically on the mental health, what we want to do rather than focusing on that. But I would suggest that we could do that if we had signs. I wouldn't necessarily want to straight away drug and alcohol test everyone, but the people will all know what we need to look for. If we then do notice these things, we could then have a discussion, and if it continued, we may then have to obviously do some kind of testing if it continued too far, and we'd have to look into that. Yeah.
Okay, and last question for Dan, and then we finish. We can have I can have a coffee break. Last question for Dan. Nice list of documentation, Dan. I'm just wondering if you'd actually thought as a client, and we get guided around. We often get invited into the site manager's office, and we see a nice, sexy filing system. I'm just wondering whether you'd actually broke that down into actually individual files, and if so, what kind of sort of numbers were you talking there, Dan? Because that to me just looks like a huge collection of things that if I walked into a storage room, I would just see them and it'd be quite confusing. So I'm wondering, did you actually break it down into sort of numbers of actual individual files that you might have?
Yeah, certainly. So I would say these safe method of works, risk assessments, and method statements should all be in one category with individualized to separators, so you don't get confused.
Yep.
You'd definitely have like toolbox talks by itself, health and safety, an absolute must by itself. Your hot works permits, I'd say, yeah, by itself. Induction forms and stuff like that, and site register. So yeah, so it's architectural drawings and stuff like that, depending on the size. Because, for say example, what I work off A0 and A1, so
Right.
I've actually got a portable filing system where they actually hang down in half.
Got you.
So
Yeah.
that segregates it. But yeah, so there's not a massive amount because you can condense it down, and you can put the separators in, so you can flick through it, so it's not all muddled up. It's all nice and neat.
I would think that I'd say that's a great explanation, Dan. Brilliant, my friend. That is all we've got. Yes, Tevin, would you like to comment? Sorry, Tevin, I didn't see you.
That's all right. Just to follow on from Dan's point, what we was
Yep.
also thinking about doing as for you, the client, to save you from traveling miles on end, always to come to site to review or see forms, documentation. We are looking at probably using a program called Procore, which we upload day-to-day site diaries of what works is going on, progress pictures. All the RAMs and method statements will also be found online. So it's there just in case any of these records was to ever be damaged in a fire or lost or whatever may happen.
Tevin,
So we've taken that into consideration.
Yeah,
what a
so
great, what a great.
Going off what Tevin's just said there, so you could, if the client doesn't have that specific program, they could always use something like Dropbox or something like that, and they'd have individual files where it would be so safe method of works, risk assessments, or architectural drawings. They can just go in, click on it, and all the updated versions would be there and nice and easy to use.
I'll tell you something. I'm really glad I asked that question. And Tavoy just wants to finish us off. Tavoy?
Well, basically, he said what I was gonna say. Dan just said what I was just gonna say.
Oh, sorry. Is that a frozen picture of your hand raised there? I think that's a frozen picture of your hand raised. Right. Okay. Right, guys. Let's bring this meeting to an ending. You want to be really, really proud of that. That was a great meeting. Great answers to the questions. Let's give you. Come on. Let's have it. Come on. Yes. Yes. See, it was all worth it in the end. You see, it was all worth it. Right, let's stop the recording before the fruity language comes out.